for the past 30 years, my work is really on education with the indigenous peoples, together with social entrepreneurship. The fundamental problem of the indigenous peoples are actually related to land security because of the influx of migrants, the entry of development aggression like mining, illegal logging, and big plantations. Many of the IPs have been displaced from their ancestral domain, and eventually they became squatters of their own land. They have lost their culture because they have lost their land. For the indigenous peoples, land is life. The indigenous elders realized that they lack professionals from among themselves. And they kept on saying that if we want to be sustainable, then there has to be responsible young professionals from among ourselves. Before we put up Pamulaan, we had a 1-year research conducted by the indigenous people themselves. Elders realized that many of those who have gone to the mainstream education, when they go back to their communities, they have lost their sense of identity. The curriculum in Pamulaan is a product of a 1-year dialogue between the elders, the knowledge bearers, and the professors in the university. And the product of that is what guides us on the learning process and experiences that the students have to go through in the school. We also invite the knowledge bearers, the elders, to take part in the learning process by giving lectures and learning activities with the students, particularly on their cultures and traditions, their music, their history, their spirituality, and worldviews and lifeways. It's very interesting to see how our graduates have articulated the values and ideals of Pamulaan, because many of them are now working in their communities. Some are working in government as teachers in the Department of Education, as development workers working in the different NGOs, anthropologists in the National Commission for Indigenous People, organizers, facilitators in the local government units, agriculturists, health volunteers. They're doing it as their way of giving back to the community. Pamulaan has also become a hub on indigenous education, a hub on community-based entrepreneurship, because many of the indigenous peoples are going to Pamulaan to study, to discuss about their issues, and see how they can find collective solutions to the problems that they are facing in their communities. I think the fundamental change that we hope to happen in the future is that the IPs and the bigger society would not just look at the IPs as object for help. They will not be seen as people who are always in need, people who are kawawa and mahihirap, but people who have the capacity to help themselves and to help others. I am Ben Abadiano, the founder of Pamulaan Center for Indigenous Peoples Education. I am an Ashoka Fellow.